Women don't flirt with older men. They test them. Folks, this is where most men get it wrong. You think if a woman is interested, she'll make it obvious. She'll compliment you. She'll chase. She'll say something clear. But that's not how it works, especially once you're older. Instead, you walk away from conversations feeling unsure. You replay moments in your head. You wonder if she was just being friendly or if you missed something important. And the truth is, many men don't fail because they're unattractive. They fail because they answer the wrong way. Here's what's really happening. When a woman feels desire for an older man, she doesn't announce it. She probes. She asks questions that sound casual on the surface, but carry emotional weight underneath. These questions aren't about information. They're about you, your stability, your awareness, your masculine presence. And if you miss what she's really asking, she rarely gives you a second chance. In this video, I'm going to break down the 2 exact questions women use to test older men they're drawn to. You'll learn why these questions matter, what they're really measuring, and how most men accidentally talk themselves out of attraction without realizing it. Once you see this, you'll never hear these questions the same way again. Let's get into it. Number 1. Women test, not flirt. Folks, here is the shift that saves older men years of confusion. Women do not flirt the way you were taught to expect, especially when they are drawn to a man with mileage and edge. If we are being honest, direct flirting risks her dignity. It risks looking eager. So she does something smarter. She tests, quietly, carefully. She watches how you handle small pressure before she gives you anything obvious. A test looks like a normal question, a casual comment, even a harmless tease. But underneath it is not about information. It is about your frame. She is checking if you are steady or thirsty, warm or needy, open or trapped in your routine. Older men who sit around waiting for clear signals miss the entire conversation happening beneath the words. Picture this. Greg is 57, recently divorced, back in the world after years of routine. He meets Renee, 49, at a hotel bar in Atlanta while traveling for work. Renee does not touch him. She does not gush. She does not compliment his jacket. Instead, she says, "You seem comfortable on your own." Greg laughs nervously and starts explaining how busy he is, how his schedule is packed, how he is not really the social type. He thinks he is being honest. Renee hears a man trying to defend himself. Now the same scene, different response. Greg stays calm, meets her eyes and says, "I enjoy my space, but I appreciate good company." Then he stops. No selling. No over-explaining. Renee relaxes. She feels him. That is the difference between failing a test and passing it. Here is another pattern. Michael, 54, meets Diane, 46, at a friend's backyard party in Phoenix. Diane asks, "Are you seeing anyone these days?" Michael panics and answers like it is a courtroom. He lists his past, his frustrations, his reasons. Diane smiles, but her interest drops. The question was not about history. It was about emotional temperature right now. My friend, women use tests because they do not want to hand desire to a man who collapses under it. They have learned that some men get excited and lose control. They push too fast. They ask for clarity. They get emotional when they do not get it. A test is her way of asking, "Can you hold your center while I get closer?" And if you cannot, she backs away without drama. This is where Stoicism fits perfectly. The Stoic man observes without attachment. He does not chase certainty. He does not beg for reassurance. He listens for what is being measured, not just what is being asked. He answers with calm warmth, then lets the moment breathe. That pause communicates power. Your calm tells her you are safe to desire and strong enough to walk away. So do this. When a question feels casual but loaded, slow your pace, relax your shoulders, answer in 1 or 2 sentences, then stop talking. Tests are passed through composure, not cleverness. If this is clicking for you, write this in the comments. I see the test. Stay with me because the next part reveals the hidden language inside these questions, and once you hear it, you will stop missing opportunities. Number 2. The hidden attraction language. Folks, once you accept that women test instead of flirt, the next step is learning the language those tests are written in. This language is not verbal in the way most men expect. It is emotional. It is paced. It lives between the words. If we are being real about it, most men fail not because they say the wrong thing, but because they answer in the wrong register. The hidden attraction language is built on subtext. A woman asks something simple, but she is listening for tone, not content. She is feeling for steadiness, not facts. She is sensing whether your nervous system is regulated or reactive. That is what attraction responds to, especially with older men. Stoicism explains this clearly. Epictetus taught that we should pay attention not to what is said, but to how we respond internally. When a question lands and you rush, explain or defend, you reveal inner disturbance. When you pause, breathe and respond cleanly, you reveal inner order. Inner order feels masculine. This language shows up in timing. Does your response come out immediately as if you were waiting to be asked, or does it come after a brief pause as if you chose it? That pause matters. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Calm thoughts produce calm speech. Calm speech produces trust. It also shows up in simplicity. Men often overanswer because they think clarity builds connection. In reality, excess detail dilutes energy. Attraction prefers restraint. A short, grounded answer carries more weight than a long explanation. Seneca warned that the man who explains himself too much reveals uncertainty. Silence, when relaxed, communicates certainty. Another layer of this language is emotional neutrality, not coldness, neutrality. When your emotional state does not spike or dip based on her reaction, she feels safe to explore interest. Safety allows curiosity. Curiosity allows desire to grow. This is why women often repeat tests in slightly different forms. They are listening for consistency. The hidden language also lives in what you do not correct. When you resist the urge to clarify, to fix, to make sure she understands you, allow the moment to unfold. Unfolding moments feel alive. Managed moments feel scripted. Attraction hates scripts. Stoicism calls this letting events happen without interference. You are present, but not controlling. You are engaged, but not invested in outcome. That balance is rare. Rare energy is attractive. Most men are trained to respond logically. But attraction is not logical. It is experiential. The hidden language measures whether you can stay embodied instead of moving into your head. When you stay embodied, your voice slows, your posture settles, your eyes stay relaxed. Those signals are louder than words. This language also tests boundaries. When you answer warmly but do not overgive, you show self-respect. Self-respect creates polarity. Polarity creates pull. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that no man is free who cannot govern himself. Governing yourself in conversation is freedom in action. Here is the key takeaway, my friend. Do not listen only to the question. Listen to what is being felt beneath it. Respond from presence, not from performance. Say less. Leave space. Let her nervous system meet yours. If this is landing for you, write this below. I hear the subtext. Stick with me because next we expose why women never say what they mean directly and how that protects their desire while testing your strength. Number 3. Why she never says it directly. Folks, this is the part most men misunderstand and then personalize the wrong way. They think if a woman wants them, she will say it. She will make it clear. She will remove the ambiguity. If we are being honest, that belief comes from how men experience desire. Women do not move that way, especially with older men. She does not say it directly because direct desire puts her at risk. Emotional risk, social risk, dignity risk. A woman revealing attraction outright gives up leverage and safety. Instead, she creates conditions where attraction can be explored without exposure. That is why tests exist. They protect her while revealing you. Look at how this plays out in real life. Tom is 55, divorced, steady living in Seattle. He meets Linda, 49, at a professional networking event. Linda does not flirt. She does not compliment him. Instead, she says, "You seem very comfortable in your routine." Tom hears a neutral comment and shrugs it off. He answers flatly and moves on. What he missed was the opening. Linda was not asking about his schedule. She was asking whether there was space in his life for closeness. Now compare that with another moment. Tom meets Michelle 51 weeks later at a small dinner party. Michelle makes a similar comment. This time Tom pauses and responds calmly. He says he values his routine but enjoys meaningful connection when it shows up. Then he stops. Michelle feels the warmth without pressure. She leans in emotionally. Same type of comment. Different awareness, different outcome. Women avoid direct statements because directness forces a decision too early. Attraction needs room to breathe. When things are said outright, tension collapses into logic. Logic kills desire. Ambiguity keeps the nervous system engaged. That engagement is where attraction lives. This is even more true for mature women. They have learned that some men cannot handle desire responsibly. They get excited, they rush, they attach, they demand clarity. So she tests quietly to see if you can hold ambiguity without falling apart. Consider another example. Brian, 61, meets Karen, 56, through mutual friends in San Diego. Karen asks, "Are you usually this quiet?" Brian laughs nervously and apologizes, explaining he is just reserved. Karen smiles, but something shuts down. The question was not criticism, it was curiosity. She wanted to see if his calm was grounded or insecure. When women do not say it directly, they are watching for regulation. Can you stay relaxed? Can you answer without defending? Can you let silence exist? Those traits signal emotional maturity. Emotional maturity feels safe. Safety allows desire to surface naturally. Most men fail because they want certainty. They want confirmation. They want to know where they stand. Women sense that need immediately. Need collapses attraction. Presence sustains it. The Stoic understands this instinctively. He does not demand clarity from what is unfolding. He observes. He participates without clinging. He allows things to reveal themselves through behavior. That patience communicates confidence. Here is the key lesson, my friend. When she does not say it directly, she is not being unclear. She is being careful. Your job is not to push for words. Your job is to stay grounded enough that she feels safe letting attraction grow. If this lands for you, write this below. I stay calm. Stay with me, because next we break down the first dangerous question she uses and why your answer matters more than you think. Number 4. The first dangerous question. Folks, this is where attraction quietly lives or dies. The first dangerous question usually sounds harmless. It often comes out as curiosity, not desire. Something like asking whether you spend much time alone or if you enjoy solitude. On the surface, it feels neutral. Underneath it is loaded. If we are being direct about it, this question is not about your schedule, it is about access. What she is really asking is whether there is space for her, not physically, but emotionally. Is your life open or sealed shut? Are you grounded and selective or closed off and unavailable? Most men answer this question literally, and that is where they lose the moment. Stoicism teaches us to look beyond appearances. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that things are not as they first seem, but as they are understood. This question tests understanding. It measures whether you live from intention or from habit, whether your solitude is chosen or imposed. When a man rushes to explain how busy he is, how independent he has become, how much he enjoys being alone, he thinks he is projecting strength. What often comes through instead is rigidity. Rigidity feels emotionally unavailable. Availability without need is what attraction responds to. The correct energy here is balance. You value your space, but you are not trapped inside it. You enjoy solitude, but you are open to connection that feels right. That openness must be felt, not argued. Short answers, calm tone, then silence. Silence lets her nervous system register safety. Epictetus warned that men suffer not from events, but from their interpretations. Interpreting this question as a threat makes you defensive. Interpreting it as an invitation keeps you grounded. The difference is felt instantly. This question also tests patience. Men who want clarity too soon will over-clarify. They will try to define themselves, define the situation, define expectations. That urge collapses attraction. Desire grows in space, not in explanations. Stoic presence means allowing the moment to unfold without forcing it. You answer cleanly. You do not justify. You do not rush to reassure. You let her sit with the response. That restraint communicates confidence far louder than words. There is also a deeper layer here. Women ask this question because they are deciding whether to invest emotionally. They do not want to walk into a locked room, but they also do not want a man who leaves every door open. Selective openness is the signal of maturity. Seneca wrote that the wise man is neither withdrawn nor exposed, but measured. This question measures exactly that. Are you measured, or are you extreme? Extremes feel unsafe. Balance feels magnetic. If this insight clicks for you, anchor it now. Write this below. I stay open. Keep watching, because the next part breaks down what she actually means when she asks this, and how one small shift changes everything. Number 5. What she really means. Folks, this is where things either click or stay confusing forever. Men hear the first dangerous question and think it's about lifestyle, about routines, about independence. But that's not what she's measuring. What she really means has nothing to do with your calendar and everything to do with your emotional availability. When she asks if you spend a lot of time alone or comments that you seem very self-contained, she is not judging you. She is checking for openness without need. She wants to know if there is room for connection without chaos. That balance matters more to mature women than almost anything else. Let's make this real. John is 59, comfortable in his routines, living outside Denver. He meets Emily, 52, at a charity event. Emily mentions that John seems very independent. John takes pride in this and responds by listing how much he enjoys being alone, how settled his life is, how he doesn't need much. Emily nods politely, but something closes. What she heard was not strength. She heard emotional distance. Now, the same moment, different awareness. John pauses. He smiles slightly and says he values his independence, but enjoys connection when it feels genuine. Then he stops talking. Emily feels relief. There is space, not pressure. She feels invited without being chased. That is what she really meant. Women at this stage are not looking for a man to fill a void. They are looking for a man whose life has space without emptiness. Too open feels needy. Too closed feels unavailable. The sweet spot is chosen solitude paired with emotional warmth. Here's another example. Mark, 54, meets Laura, 48, for coffee in Portland. Laura asks if Mark usually keeps to himself. Mark laughs and jokes about being a loner. Laura feels him deflecting. Attraction stalls. Later, Mark meets Rachel, 51, who asks a similar question. This time, Mark answers calmly and honestly, without hiding or oversharing. Rachel feels grounded energy. She stays engaged. Same man, same question, different outcome. What she really means is this: can you let someone in without losing yourself? Can you enjoy closeness without clinging? Can you stay steady when interest grows? These are not intellectual questions. They are nervous system questions. Men often think answering correctly means saying the right words. It does not. It means answering from the right place, calm, centered, unrushed. Your tone matters more than your phrasing. Your silence after the answer matters more than the answer itself. This is why over-explaining kills attraction. Over-explanation signals anxiety. Anxiety suggests scarcity. Scarcity creates pressure. Pressure makes her retreat. A short answer delivered with ease signals abundance. What she really means is also about future orientation. Is your life rigid, or can it adapt? Not adapt for her, but adapt naturally. Rigidity feels like a closed door. Flexibility feels like confidence. The men who pass this test are not trying to pass it. They are simply being honest without defense. They are not auditioning. They are not protecting an image. They are present. If this is landing for you, lock it in now. Write this below. I leave space. Don't go anywhere, because next we break down the second intimate question and why it tests your direction and masculine grounding even more deeply. Number 6. The second intimate question. Folks, this is the question that feels the most casual and carries the most weight. It usually sounds like curiosity about your direction, something along the lines of what you are looking for these days or where your focus is right now. If we are being honest, most men answer this question completely wrong because they think it is about plans. It is not. It is about grounding. This question tests whether you are drifting or anchored, whether your life is moving with intention or reacting to circumstance. Mature women are not interested in men who feel lost, even if they are successful. They are drawn to men who feel internally directed. Direction feels safe. Safety allows desire to open. Stoicism speaks clearly on this point. Marcus Aurelius wrote that a man should live as if his actions are guided by a ruling principle. This question is designed to sense whether you have one. When you answer with scattered goals, vague hopes, or defensive explanations, you reveal uncertainty. Uncertainty makes attraction hesitate. Most men panic here because they feel pressure to impress. They talk about work, ambition, or future plans in detail. They list goals like a resume. But this question is not about achievement. It is about emotional orientation. Are you moving towards something meaningful, or are you avoiding emptiness? The strongest answers are not detailed. They are grounded, calm, intentional. When you speak from clarity instead of performance, your tone carries weight. Seneca warned that excessive explanation reveals inner conflict. A man at peace with his direction does not need to convince anyone. This question also tests emotional availability. Women want to know if there is room in your life for connection without chaos. They are not asking you to commit. They are sensing whether closeness would disrupt you or integrate smoothly. A man who seems overwhelmed by his own life feels unsafe to desire. Epictetus taught that no man is free who is not master of his time and attention. This question listens for mastery. If your energy feels scattered, attraction pauses. If your energy feels ordered, attraction relaxes. Another layer of this question is patience. Men who rush to define the future reveal anxiety. Men who stay present reveal confidence. Presence signals that you trust the process of unfolding rather than forcing outcomes. Attraction grows where patience exists. This is why vague but grounded answers work so well. You are not hiding. You are not oversharing. You are allowing space. Space gives her nervous system room to explore interest safely. This question also exposes self-respect. Are you living according to your values or according to expectations? Marcus Aurelius reminded us to ask whether our actions align with our nature. Alignment is felt. Misalignment is felt too. When you answer from alignment, you communicate quiet authority. Authority is not control. It is coherence. A coherent man feels stable, Stability invites desire. Most men fail this test because they think it is about saying the right thing. It is about being in the right state. Calm, centered, unrushed. Your words matter less than the way you hold the moment after you speak. Practice this by answering simply. One sentence. Then silence. Let the energy settle. Let her feel your steadiness. If this resonates, lock it in now. Write this below. I know my direction. Don't step away yet, because the next part reveals why most men fail these tests without ever realizing it. Number 7. Why most men fail here. Folks, this is where everything breaks down for most men, even the smart ones. They hear the questions, they sense something is happening, and then they sabotage themselves without realizing it. If we are being blunt, men don't fail because they are unattractive. They fail because they react instead of staying present. The biggest mistake is answering from the head instead of the body. Men hear a test and immediately switch into logic mode. They explain, they justify, they defend. They treat the moment like an interview instead of an emotional exchange. Attraction does not live in explanations, it lives in energy. Let me give you a real scenario. Paul is 56, divorced, successful, living in Dallas. He meets Sarah, 49, at a mutual friend's dinner. Sarah asks one of the questions we talked about earlier. Paul feels a spark and suddenly wants to make sure he does not mess it up. He talks too much. He fills every pause. He tries to sound impressive and secure at the same time. Sarah smiles, but inside she feels pressure. Paul thinks he did well. Sarah feels drained. Now compare that with another man. Kevin is 53, meets Laura, 47, at a quiet lounge in San Diego. Laura asks the same kind of question. Kevin answers simply, calmly, then stops talking. He holds eye contact. He does not rush to be liked. Laura feels curious. She leans in emotionally. Same question, same age range, completely different outcome. Most men fail because they are chasing certainty. They want to know where they stand. They want reassurance. They want confirmation that the interest is real. That hunger leaks into their tone, their posture, their pacing. Women feel that immediately. Hunger kills polarity. Another reason men fail is fear of silence. Silence feels risky. It feels like losing control, so men rush to fill it. But silence is where attraction actually grows. Silence allows her nervous system to register you. When you interrupt silence, you interrupt feeling. Men also fail by trying to be too agreeable. They smooth everything out. They avoid tension. They think harmony creates attraction. In reality, a little tension held calmly is what creates interest. When everything is safe and predictable, nothing stands out. There is also the issue of over-identification. Men take these questions personally. They think they are being judged, so they protect their ego instead of staying open. The moment you protect your ego, you leave presence. Presence is the test. Look at Mark, 60, meeting Denise, 54, at a charity event in Los Angeles. Denise asks a light but loaded question. Mark feels exposed and answers defensively, joking it off. Denise feels him retreat emotionally. Attraction fades. Mark never knows why. Most men never realize they failed. There is no rejection, no confrontation. Just a quiet shift in energy. She becomes polite, distant, busy, and the man is left confused. Here is the truth, my friend. Passing these tests is not about clever answers. It is about emotional regulation, calm breath, slow pace, comfort with not knowing the outcome. When you master that, you stop failing without explanation. If this hits close to home, anchor it now. Write this below. I stay calm. Stay locked in, because the next part shows how women measure your presence in ways most men never see coming. Number 8. How she measures your presence. Folks, presence is not something a woman asks about. It is something she feels, and she is measuring it constantly, even when the conversation seems light. If we are being honest, most men think presence is confidence or charm. It is not. Presence is the absence of inner noise. It is how settled you are inside yourself. Women measure presence through contrast. They notice how you enter a moment and how you remain when nothing happens. They feel whether your energy spikes when attention rises or collapses when uncertainty appears. Presence is consistency under emotional pressure. Stoicism explains this without confusion. Marcus Aurelius wrote that a man should be like a promontory against which waves break continuously, yet it stands firm. Presence is firmness without stiffness. When your internal state stays steady, her nervous system registers safety and depth at the same time. One of the first ways she measures presence is pacing. Do you rush to answer, or do you allow a beat? That pause tells her whether you are reacting or choosing. Epictetus taught that freedom is found in mastering reaction. A man who reacts quickly reveals that he is moved by the moment. A man who pauses reveals that he governs it. She also measures presence through silence. Silence makes most men uncomfortable. They fill it with jokes, stories, or explanations. When you allow silence without tension, you communicate self-trust. Silence becomes a signal, not a gap. Another measure is emotional neutrality. Not coldness, neutrality. When your tone stays calm regardless of her response, she feels regulated energy. Regulated energy feels masculine. It says you are not dependent on outcome. Seneca warned that dependence on external validation enslaves the mind. Presence is freedom made visible. She measures how you handle ambiguity. Attraction lives in ambiguity. Men who rush to clarify destroy it. Men who stay present allow it to deepen. Ambiguity tests patience. Patience signals maturity. Maturity signals safety. Presence is also measured by containment. Do you spill emotion outward or hold it inward? Containment creates density. Density creates gravity. Gravity pulls attention without effort. A man with presence does not need to lean forward emotionally. The moment leans toward him. She notices how you listen. Are you waiting to speak or actually receiving? Listening without agenda creates space. Space allows her to feel herself. Feeling herself around you becomes attraction. Stoicism teaches alignment. When your words, tone, posture, and pacing match, you feel coherent. Coherence feels powerful. Fragmented energy feels anxious. Women sense this immediately. Presence is not about dominance. It is about grounded awareness. You are alert, but not hunting. Engaged, but not grasping. This balance is rare because it requires self-mastery. Here is the key. She is not evaluating your answers. She is evaluating your state, your calm breath, your relaxed shoulders, your steady gaze. These signals bypass logic and speak directly to her nervous system. If you want to be measured differently, stop trying to perform presence. Remove what disrupts it. Drop urgency. Drop approval seeking. Stay where you are. If this lands, anchor it now. Write this below. I stay present. Hold on with me, because next we reveal the masculine way to answer these tests without killing attraction. Number 9. The masculine way to answer. Folks, this is where everything you have learned finally comes together. The masculine way to answer her tests is not about clever wording. It is about state. If we are being honest, the right answer spoken from the wrong place still fails. The wrong answer spoken from a grounded place often passes. Women are responding to how you are not what you say. The masculine way to answer begins with pace. You do not rush. You let the question land. You take a breath. That pause alone communicates confidence. It tells her you are not startled by interest and not hungry for validation. You are choosing your response, not reacting to it. Let's look at how this plays out. Richard is 58, meeting Amy, 51, at a quiet restaurant in Scottsdale. Amy asks one of the questions we talked about earlier. Richard feels the weight of it but stays relaxed. He answers simply warmly without explanation. Then he stops. He does not rush to fill the space. Amy feels the calm. She feels his center. The conversation deepens without effort. Now compare that to another man. Brian, 55, meets Natalie, 48, at a social event in Tampa. Natalie asks the same kind of question. Brian answers immediately and keeps talking. He explains his intentions. He adds context. He tries to make sure she understands. Natalie hears anxiety beneath the words. The moment loses tension. Brian thinks he was clear. Natalie feels him leaning. The masculine way to answer is brief and embodied. 1 or 2 sentences. Calm tone. Relaxed posture. Then silence. Silence is not awkward when you are comfortable in it. Silence lets her nervous system register you. That registration is where attraction lives. Another example. Mark, 60, meets Lisa, 54, through friends in Northern California. Lisa asks a question that could easily be misread. Mark smiles slightly, answers in a grounded way, and then asks a simple follow-up. Not to redirect, just to stay present. Lisa feels engaged, not managed. Mark is not auditioning, he is participating. Masculine answers also carry warmth, without seeking approval. You are open, but not exposed. You do not hide behind humor. You do not soften your truth to be liked. You speak plainly and allow the moment to stand. That balance is rare. Think about how John, 52, responds differently from his past. When Karen, 47, asks him a loaded question during a walk in Boston, John answers calmly and lets the moment breathe. Karen feels his steadiness. She slows down. That slowing is attraction responding. Men often think they need to say the perfect thing. They do not. They need to be in the right place internally, grounded, unrushed, okay with any outcome. That inner neutrality is felt as strength. The masculine way to answer also means you do not chase follow-up. You do not ask immediately if that makes sense. You do not check her reaction. You stay where you are. If she is interested, she will lean in. If she is not, you let it be. Both outcomes preserve dignity. If this is landing for you, anchor it now. Type this below. I answer calmly. Let's keep moving, because the final part shows what happens when you miss these moments and why women rarely give second chances. Number 10. If you miss it, it's over. Folks, this is the part most men don't want to hear, but it's the truth. When a woman tests an older man with these questions and he misses the moment, she rarely circles back. There is no follow-up exam, no second hint. Attraction doesn't argue or explain itself. It moves on quietly. Missing it does not look dramatic. She doesn't reject you. She doesn't confront you. She simply shifts. Her tone cools. Her curiosity fades. She becomes polite, busy, distant. From the outside, it looks like nothing happened. Inside, a door closed. This is because those questions are not casual curiosity. They are moments of vulnerability on her side. She is reaching out without exposing herself fully. When you answer from anxiety, defensiveness, or performance, she reads that as emotional instability or lack of awareness. And once that impression forms, it is very hard to undo. Most men think attraction is logical and reversible. They assume that if they say the right thing later, they can fix it. That is not how desire works. Desire responds to first impressions of emotional regulation. When that impression is off, the body remembers. Here is what usually happens. A man answers too literally, or he over-explains, or he jokes to deflect, or he seeks clarity too soon. In his mind, he was being honest or careful. In her body, she felt pressure or uncertainty. That feeling does not invite a second chance. Older men are especially surprised by this because they are used to conversations being explicit. They expect feedback, but attraction does not give feedback. It withdraws. Stoicism prepares you for this reality. Epictetus taught that some things are not in your control, including how others respond to you. Once a moment passes, clinging to it only creates frustration. The Stoic does not chase what has moved on. He learns and stays grounded. Missing the moment is not a verdict on your worth. It is feedback on your presence in that moment. The mistake is not missing one woman. The mistake is not learning from the pattern. When you miss it, the right move is not to pursue harder. It is to stop, reflect, and recalibrate. Chasing after a missed test only confirms the very thing that caused the attraction to fade. Neediness after the fact seals the outcome. The men who succeed are not the ones who never miss. They are the ones who miss, learn, and do not repeat the same mistake. They stop rushing. They stop explaining. They stop needing certainty. Over time, their presence changes, and when the next test comes, they are ready. This is why awareness matters more than technique. You cannot script attraction. You can only prepare your internal state so you meet the moment correctly when it appears. Understand this, my friend. Women do not test to trap you. They test to protect themselves. When you answer with calm, warmth, and self-possession, attraction flows naturally. When you don't, it ends quietly. Let this be the lesson you carry forward. Do not fear missing one moment. Fear staying unaware and missing them all. Folks, today we broke down what most men never realize. When a woman desires an older man, she doesn't flirt, she tests. You learned how those two questions work, what they really mean, why most men fail without knowing it, and how calm presence is what determines whether attraction opens or quietly shuts down. The real value here is awareness. Once you see these moments clearly, you stop guessing and start responding with confidence. If you want to go deeper and train this level of composure, timing, and stoic presence in real situations, consider joining the members section of this channel. That's where we turn insight into habit and habit into identity. And if this content helps you navigate attraction with clarity instead of confusion, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what's next. Thank you for watching, my friend. I'll see you again tomorrow.